Very good morning to you. This is Kakaaki Social. I'm Rena Obozege. Welcome to another day. Now, 3 days to the governorship election in Imo State, the candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Samuel Anyanwu, and his Labour Party counterpart, Athan Achuno, on Wednesday staged a walkout at a stakeholders meeting organized by the Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC. Both of them want the state's resident electoral commissioner, that's REC, Professor Silva Agu, redeployed, just as the commissioner of police who was accused of aiding the assault on the NLC president, Joe Ajaero. At the stakeholders meeting in Owerri, the electoral umpire ordered journalists to turn off their cameras, gadgets, and leave the hall, but the PDP and the Labour Party's deputy governorship candidates opposed, saying the media is as important as every stakeholder in the room, and this led to rancor in the room, as you would see in the next video.
I think we will plead with the media. I know you are participants, you are part of this meeting, but I think at this point, if you please excuse us with the camera, just sit down and participate. Let's go to the business of the day.
There's nothing secret about what we're doing. There's absolutely nothing secret about what we're doing. Don't do that, please.
The media, please.
No.
You are.
No! 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 There's absolutely nothing wrong with what
the media has to cover everything we're doing here. Why would you want the media to
cover what you are doing? We are not running a civil society. This is about elections.
Why do you want the media to cover?
Professor Mahmoud is compromised. Yes. If the chairman is not compromised, we should have removed this woman in Imo. We should have removed this woman in Imo State. But they all go around, the governor goes around telling people that as far as is concerned, this woman is going nowhere. That is what APC has been saying. Yes. And because they've said that, we are seeing it. This woman, we've condemned her, we've told them to remove this woman. At this point, we are passing a vote of no confidence.
Okay, so that was the scene yesterday in Owerri. In reaction to this, Henry says INEC will set Imo State up for serious crisis. Few days to elections and INEC is already showing signs of bias. Why does INEC want a stakeholders meeting held behind closed doors? Why do they want cameras out of the meeting room? That's already an indication that they have things to hide. Okay, Don Best says Yakubu's INEC has zero credibility to continue conducting election. PDP and Labour Party, who were their victims, should have insisted on his replacement after 2023 general election. It is unwise to expect unbiased, free, fair elections under Yakubu's INEC. Imo will be worse than Rivers and Lagos. Okay. For Umachuku, he says election has not even started. They are already screaming rigging. They are in the same hall with the INEC officials and other party members. The journalists have their pens and books. What could possibly happen there that won't be seen and made public? And he says, shaking my head. Okay, so someone said it's not like there was even ballot box in the hall. What was the need for shut your cameras and all? This Onyisi says INEC is now another branch of APC as a political party contesting against opposition. Why hiding from media if there is no skeleton in your cupboard? All right, so let's move away from that now to say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday signed the 2023 supplementary budget of 2.2 trillion naira into law at the presidential villa here in Abuja. The Senate and the House of Representatives, of course, had passed the appropriation bill after a third reading. The president didn't speak yesterday at the signing, but from earlier, he said the supplementary bill was necessary for additional palliative measures, including wage awards. And then the House had moved the 5 billion naira, that's the House of Representatives, now the Green Chamber, moved the 5 billion naira for the presidential yacht to up the loan for students, making it 10 billion naira. But the Senate passed it as it came to them. But definitely they had to harmonize. They did, and the report was adopted. So that's why we have it now signed, that we have 2.2 trillion naira appropriation bill for the remaining days of 2023. And those were the guys yesterday at the Senate, at the presidential villa rather. Now, Mr. Green thinks that great news for the country, the swift approval and signing of the 2.17 trillion supplementary budget by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu reflects a proactive approach to addressing critical funding needs. He says it's essential that these additional funds are used wisely to support priority. But for King Hills, he says after all the hue and cry about the supplementary budget, he still went ahead to sign it, yacht and expensive cars inclusive. And he says it's okay. This kind of okay, meaning the opposite, I guess. But Chris says it's not about signing papers. Where is the money going to? After the signing of paper now, we will not hear anything or how the money has been spent. More reactions coming in from Zion. It says 50 days to the end of the year of 2023. A budget is being signed for same year. And finally, Ray Mide says only God knows what 2024 budget would look like in Nigeria. I mean, it's just some days away, so it's nothing to worry about. We'll all be here by God's grace to witness it. So yeah. And then, still in reaction, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, has faulted the signing of the supplementary budget by the president. Obi is of the opinion that a supplementary budget that is late in the financial year should reflect mostly items of national welfare and not money for cruising of a few, shunning the sensibility of the masses. He is worried that the interest of the people was not captured, and he gave an example with the prediction of the United Nations and World Food Programme that 6.5 million Nigerians will be hungry by next year. And then he wrote on X yesterday after the signing, I guess he admitted that there was a need, but for national interest. And then it's continued here to say that no item of urgent social welfare has yet featured in the supplementary budget being orchestrated by this government. Instead, the items being made to dominate public discourse on the budget include a mysterious presidential yacht, presidential jet, and then the furnishing of already lavishly furnished presidential quarters and offices, fleets of luxury SUVs, etc. This portrays a government that is totally uncaring and insensitive to the suffering of the majority and indifferent to the mood of the nation. Obi continued to say that the government's overall attitude does not indicate that it is aware that the country is in a huge crisis, nor is the government in tune with the plight of the generality of our people. Even worse is the fact that most of the funding for these profligate expenditures will be largely borrowed. The least that Nigerians expect from the government at this difficult moment is empathy and realism, not lavish indulgence. And it was personally signed by him. You saw PO there. Tweets signed by those people would always have their initials at the end. Oluwakemi says, please help us shout it. Oh, people are hungry. This is not the time for people to be spending on luxury and frivolity. How can we be borrowing to fund the frivolous lifestyle of the office of the president? What kind of sense is this? And also in reaction, Bolu says, yes, this is the opposition playing we'll talk about. Put the government on his toes, and he says kudos. But then for Jerry, it says he attached this picture of Peter Obi that people would used to call him COC, Commander of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. And he says, Okute, is this not campaign after elections? Oh, well, let's leave that now. Leave the budget to have our final story. It's from Osun State, where a male-female lecturer at the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife in the state was seen in a viral video manhandling a student for refusing to switch off their mobile phone. Now, Larry Olayinka, a former aide to ex-governor Ayo Fayose, who shared the video online, said the student bled from the assault. Now, of course, I had to reduce the length of the video but there are captions to it. So where you would continue from, what you missed, I have to summarize. So the student who made the video said, the guy said he missed his way into this lecturer's class where he was holding his class. Then he wanted to leave, and the lecturer was maybe suspicious of who he was and insisted that the guy must not make any call, because they said the rancor continued for a while, so he needed to make some calls for rescue. And he says, switch off your phone. Even if you are the VC's son, you are not living here or making any calls. So that is the part I removed, and then you could just read along to see the remaining parts.
Switch off that phone. Will you switch off that phone? Switch off that phone. You can't be more than me. Even if you are VC's son, I won't take this from you. Switch off the phone. Switch off the phone.
Very good, very good, very good. This guy did not sing.
Okay, let's have just 2 reactions to this. This user says the lecturer acted with a sense of responsibility, though he took it to the extreme. With cult violence taking place in Nigeria University, everyone has to be vigilant and interrogate suspicious individuals. It could be a spy on surveillance. And finally, expensive champagne, Piriye says, why did those students sit and watch him humiliate another student? This nonchalant behavior is not acceptable and is destroying the fabric of our society. Always fight for your right. Always. Well, some people took it personal with him, especially the Larry Olayinka who shared it, but I mean, we have to leave that out to respect his person. So that's how we call it a day today on Kakaaki Social. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Good morning, Adora and Nkoli.
Morning, Rena. I just want to say that on no account should you put your hands on a woman, regardless of whatever the case may be. That was absolutely tragic.
It was extreme.
It was extreme.